Howdy, roofers, and welcome to Roofer Growth Hacks, the podcast that's dedicated to highlighting those in the roofing industry, learning how they overcame growth challenges with creative growth hacks, and connecting them with others in the roofing industry. I'm your host, Chris Hunter, founder and chief marketing officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. Got a little story for you, roofers. Aaron Christy is the owner and founder of Indy Roof Restoration, one of Indiana's leading roofing companies known for its customer education and transparent approach. With a strong background in marketing, sales, and community engagement, Aaron has grown his business into a regional leader by prioritizing honest service and consistent results. So listen up to Aaron as he shares some awesome growth hacks. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us here on Roofer Growth Hacks. Really excited to meet you and to really dig into your company and really just kind of figure out some of your roofer growth hacks that you've had along the way here. All right. So why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about yourself, your entrepreneurial journey, where did you start? Where are you now? Why did you start? All that kind of stuff.
Man, this is 30 minutes. I could do the whole thing on that. No, I'm Aaron Christy. I'm with Indy Roof Restoration in Indianapolis. And it's a funny story, man. I was never traditionally in construction or roofing. I worked with a family business for 16 years. It was my father and brother's company. I did sales and marketing there. It's a traveling job, though. You get married, you have kids, gone every other week. It's a problem. So looking for something else, I fell into roofing. And all reality, I don't have some insanely moral story for getting into roofing. As I was trying to figure out how to take care of my family, what I was going to do. I lost a really good job with my family when I left it. And you got to replace that income, but I can't stay there. And so I started looking at a bunch of different stuff. And just by happenstance, a friend of mine kind of got left at like one man, one truck roofing company that the guy went to Just Claims and asked him to like take calls and stuff like that. And he asked me if I wanted to sell some roofs with him. And I was opening up a furniture store at the time. I decided to do this on the side with him. I liked learning. We learned a bunch of stuff, YouTube and anything we could find because the guy was off somewhere like in North Carolina.
Right.
And then I started setting up some relationships, and that's kind of some of the marketing stuff I did before. And so I did that here, worked with some realtors, insurance agents. Guy comes back in town. My furniture store is built out and ready to open. So I left and went to my furniture store. But these realtors and stuff kept calling me. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing roofs anymore. I'm not doing roofs anymore. And finally, I'm like, dude, I'm turning down money. I'm not making, $1 million from this furniture store by any means. So I opened Indy Roof, and I was going to be a side gig traditionally. And then this is 2018, and then we had a storm, and I decided to do some more marketing, and I reached out to about 2,000 realtors via text message.
Wow.
Yeah. I pulled all their names off like every major website. They list all the agents and cell phones. And so I went through and texted them all like a map of the hailstorm and was like, hey, if you got any listings in these areas, this is who I am. This is what I do. Give me a call. And I just got a ton of feedback and inspections and everything else. And at this point, I'm like 3 months into this furniture store and realize I absolutely hate it. I went from traveling all over the country, working with people face to face, to sitting in a cubicle and like selling furniture. It wasn't a cubicle, but you know what I'm saying? Like a little office. And I handed off the furniture store and went all into roofing. And we've been growing it ever since. First couple of years, it was just me figuring it all out, learning everything, making mistakes. So I can figure those out and not do it again. And man, it was a journey. About 2020 when COVID hit, we decided to start growing like right before that. I felt like the bank account was in the right place. The knowledge was in the right place, brought some people on, hired some sales reps, and we had a storm. For me, I'm a marketer, so it didn't affect me. Like the door knocking people were the ones that had problems during COVID. Since nobody was knocking their doors during these storms, I'm cleaning up on, social media and different things like that. And we just started to grow. We tripled in size that year, went from about 3 million to almost 10 million in 2020, and then just kind of continued to grow from there.
Wow. All right. Lots to unpack there, but what were the biggest hurdles that you ran into when you tripled in size? Because I mean, when any company, just even doubling in size, that's a massive, you're going to face some massive stuff there, right?
Yeah, it's
What were
operation.
the,
It's operation. Sales wasn't a problem right then. It was like, okay, we have
yeah.
to fulfill these orders now, right? Fortunately, I had some good crews that took care of everything really well. Did not have a lot of problems. Obviously a lot more than normal, and you have to adjust, you have to switch your SOPs, everything
Mhm.
like that. And then it's focus equals growth, right? That's like something we always say. Whatever you put your attention on is gonna work really well, and then the other things will fall off. So you start putting your attention on ops, and then sales can like have some problems. You put your attention back here, and it's a
Yep.
constant battle of making sure that SOPs are followed. And as you grow, the SOPs need to shift and everything like that. But yeah, it was 100% operations and fulfillment.
Love that. I love that you're talking about SOPs because I mean, I talk to roofers day in and day out, 4 to 5 roofers every single day, throughout the United States. And very few of them even understand what an SOP is, right? So why don't you tell everybody that's listening here, what is an SOP?
Oh man, so you have to have it. This is a great story, right? So you have to have a process for everything, right? So you have a
Mhm.
written out SOP, and it says step by step by step of exactly what you want to do. And if you want to know how to get the most detailed SOP, one, the people that do the things need to do it every day, but they're not professional SOP writers. And
Mhm.
so the point of them is you have to be able to take this set of instructions and give it to a kid that works at Taco Bell and have him be able to perform your job based on step by step guideline. And
Right.
so this was the coolest thing. Our COO, Adam Kaminsky, brought in peanut butter, jelly, bread, a knife, and all this stuff. And he laid it out on the table, and he had everybody write an SOP on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then he
Yeah.
collected them, and then he had everybody read. There's like 6 or 7 of them at the time. It was just the office people, and he had everybody read them and then pick the best one. Right. So out of everybody wrote, we took the best one, and then he handed it to somebody, and he said, okay, now read it to me. And so they read the first line, and he goes, open the bread. So he grabs the bag of bread and rips it open, flying everywhere. And
Oh,
like, no, not like that. He goes, that's what you said. It's like, no, you got to untwist well, it's not on the SOP, right? And
yeah.
then just continue to go on, put the peanut butter on, scoop the peanut butter with his hand, slap it on. So it goes to show how detailed. It's a really fun project if you want to do that, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a good way to get people to understand how detailed you have to be in
Yeah.
an SOP. But yeah, it's those are what you have to live and breathe by when you have a lot of people coming in and a lot of things going through the pipeline.
Yeah. 100%.
Standard operating procedure.
Yeah. 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 And I'm an EOS geek. I don't know if you run EOS or not in your
Not
company.
not so much like parts of it, but
Yeah, and that's a lot of companies that I talk to are like, okay, yeah, we do this piece or this piece or this piece, but not the entire all 7 pieces or whatever that it is,
right.
you know. But that's one of the biggest parts, and that I actually learned about SOPs way back in the day when I read the E Myth by
Even yeah, yeah,
Michael Gerber. Yeah,
yeah. I
um,
read that because Adam Kaminsky, the guy that did the peanut butter and jelly, was like, "This is a great book. You should read it." So that's how I
oh,
learned
there you
about
go.
Eatman. Yep,
Interesting. Yeah, love it. And as you can see, I mean, I'm a book geek. I've got tons and tons of books that I'm constantly reading. So,
for sure.
all right, tripling in size. You SOPs. Things are flying left and right, right? And
Yeah.
when you're so operations, right? When it comes to operations, a lot of companies that I talk with don't have in-house staff for operations for the most part, right? They might have a foreman, but they're subbing everything else out. How did you do it at the beginning, and where are you guys at now with that? What's your
So we
philosophy
still
on it?
we still use subcontractors. We do not have
Okay,
in-house labor,
yeah,
but our operations teams count as. We started with just every 1099 salesman.
hmm,
They ran their own job, collected checks, do everything, right? And that's when
right,
you're on the 10-50-50 model, and they get a lot more of the money. And then as we switched and progressed, we ended up adding an operations team. We brought people on W2. Um, And now that all they have to do is get the contract, sign them, and turn it into operations. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
there's a change order here and there, or if the person's not paying their bill at the end, we might say, hey, call these people.
Yeah.
But there's 95% less work to do on the back end. And and so now the operations team, it goes into them. You have project managers. We have a director of ops that kind of runs the project managers, the intake, the contract guy. So yeah, it's just kind of evolved, dude. Like there's so
Yeah.
many different things that you're like, oh, do I need this? And we tried things and we made new positions, and they're like, nah, that wasn't
Right.
necessary. That's one thing I've learned, that like as you're growing, you feel like, okay, well, if I get this new person, they'll take care of all this. It'll run smoother.
Hmm.
We'll be able to make more money because of
Yeah.
this. Not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I was like, oh, you're going to free up a bunch of sales guys' time. They're going to go out and they're going to sell twice as much now. They don't. They sell about the same amount, sometimes even less, because they're not on the job sites talking to people, building
Interesting.
the
Yeah.
relationships and rapport. And sometimes that goes down. And so you just got to be careful. That's the lesson that I've learned through my years and growing quickly, is just because you hire somebody and put somebody in with this thought in your head doesn't mean that that's going to make your company better
Hmm.
or more money. I've even had times where we had like 5 project managers, director of ops. One of the project managers was a project manager's manager, contract guy, and then the intake person. And it was the worst it had ever been. And it's
Wow.
because everybody else was like, it's their job, it's their job, it's their job, it's their job. I tagged so and so, just basically here, you guys take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then so we scaled back to, we have 2 project managers now, like the director of ops, and then like the intake slash contract person.
Love that. So where are you guys at now, in annual revenue? If you don't mind sharing
It's
with the,
fine.
everyone.
It's slow. The growth slowed down a lot
Yep.
after that
Okay.
first few years. We bounced from 12 to 15 million.
Yeah. Yeah. And saying that we slowed down the growth, but what I've seen in a lot of companies is that you can go from 0 to a million, or a million to 2 million, or 4 million, 5 million. But it's when you hit that specific stage where you're like, okay, well, this isn't going as fast as what I wanted it to go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and it's usually either people or processes, right? One or the other, in my opinion,
Yep.
when it comes down to that. So what's your focus now? Is it people or processes on where
I
you're trying to
feel
get to?
I feel like our processes are in really good shape. We also have been very storm dependent. And Indiana is not like, the Texas or Colorado markets, or Wisconsin, or these places that are getting these massive, like we get like a half inch to, if we're lucky, an inch and a quarter, inch and a half every, we
Mhm.
we're gonna get some hailstorms and stuff. Uh, but when you're storm dependent, you got sales, they can be a little cyclical, and then so you lose people, right? And so in the sales side, the focus now has been like, okay, how do we make sure that these guys are continually being able to get sales? So we've made a hard dive into um, a more retail version of sales. So
Okay.
for the last year, everybody's been going through their PowerPoint presentations and upgrading, instead of just saying, hey,
Yeah.
you're approved for insurance, here's the roof you get, pick your colors. We're like,
Right.
okay, here's the base roof, but then we have this option and this option up here, your good, better, best option. So they got good at that.
Yeah.
And now we're like, okay, now we're going to do this pitch on the front, even if somebody needs insurance, and say, hey, even if you need insurance, let's try to get them contracted. Then anything they get approved for, they can apply into that. But they need a roof regardless. And so we're just pulling the trigger on moving it to the front ends. And I think and it's been very successful. We're at like 50% retail and 50% insurance this year,
Nice.
which
Yeah.
is massive. We were like
Yeah.
90 and 10 last year.
Yeah.
And it's given them a little bit more ability to get paid faster,
Hmm.
get paid more, have a higher conversion rate. And so I think the operations team's humming along really well now. We have to
Yeah.
focus on the sales team, get this
Hmm.
process really nailed in, and then it's duplicatable, right? Like,
Yeah.
so we're in the greater Indianapolis area. That's about it. We can continue to pull even 15 million out of here. We could open up a few other locations with,
Hmm.
2, 3, 4 million throughout. And then as you grow, do that over the next 4 or 5 years. Now that's how you hit your 25 and 30 million.
Yeah. 100%. And that's usually what we see too, is like just expanding different locations and so forth. We've got several clients that the same issue, not issue, same boat that they have just expanded to different major metros, essentially.
Yeah, and I see it's
Um,
like we have branding overflow. Like we've done roofs an hour and a half
yeah,
south, and hour and a half north. So
yeah,
we have some footprint there. We have
right.
used geo-targeted, all these different things, pictures, et cetera, et cetera. So going there would be a lot easier. And just like you want to compare it to this because it's a negative thing, but it was like a virus, like yeah, you grow out, just grow out, and then you have all the
Yeah,
overflow. Eventually you own the whole state. So
right, right, which is cool. So you said earlier, right, that you're a marketer, right? So me as a marketer, I'm asking you, what was your best channel? You said you were mentioning social media. What were you doing on social media to really kickstart this whole business?
I'll tell you, there's three things that I did to get everything going. Um, One is relationships.
Hmm.
Realtors was the primary thing.
Yeah,
Insurance was secondary, but I was so comfortable with the realtor system and had got so many relationships from those text blasted things that I had done at the beginning, that I just kind of stuck with that avenue. And then I took a class on Facebook marketing. I took a class on at the time Google Maps. Now it's Google
okay,
Business Profile, but your Google list.
right.
Um, And I was like, okay, let me follow the rules. And it was like was it Sean Joshi or something? It was like a $50 course.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like in my course, I mean, it was like a little digital pamphlet that's like 10 pages.
yeah,
But I followed that thing religiously, man. I did exactly what it said to do. I asked every single person for a review. I responded.
yeah.
I made one update or two updates a week.
Okay.
Just like the social media platform and the about what's
Hmm.
going on section. We added photos. I even went down to clicking on directions to the
Oh,
business, which was my
yeah,
house. So whenever
yeah,
I'm driving home, I Google Indy Roof and then like hit directions, and then it shows that it's trending and people are wanting to drive there. So I followed all those things religiously, but nothing happens at the beginning, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, but I made it part of I didn't have to think about it because I made it part of my process. And I asked every single person for a review, even people I didn't do roofs for. If I
mm,
did an inspection for somebody and they didn't
yeah,
need anything, still asked them, right? I
yeah,
did a job for them.
yeah,
I just didn't get paid for it. So let me get something. It's like that
right,
Denzel meme that it's like, I'm leaving with
yeah,
something like that.
right,
Yeah. So I did that. And next thing I know, I look up about a year in and I got like 150 reviews or something like that, 5-star reviews on Google. And everybody in the area was like, the biggest company was at 350
yeah,
or 400 or
yeah,
something. And I'm like, man, I passed like every company but like five already.
hmm,
And I just kept doing it. And then next thing I know, I had the most. Like year two,
yeah,
I have more than a company that's been around for 40 years because I was intentional about
mm,
doing these things. And now I changed the landscape here though, because once they saw me pass, then they were like, "Oh, we got to start getting reviews. This
yeah,
dude's dusting us," and it's been like this ever
yeah.
since. We have 2,000 5-star reviews.
Wow.
I think of them they're like at 2,000, 2,100. But I don't feel bad. I like there's a couple of us at 2,000, so sometimes we pass them, sometimes they go by. But yeah, that's a huge deal because then you land in
Yeah,
that map pack every time.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
everybody scrolls to look at the maps so you can see
mm,
who's going there, and then they pick the one of the three on there based on
yeah,
reviews typically and
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
You want to be in that. So now I'm in there. Now I'm getting free calls off Google.
hmm,
And then when we had storms, I'd taken like a little course on Facebook marketing, 2020. Like I said, nobody can knock doors. Storm hits. I just geo target the areas with the storms. I posted a
hmm,
picture of the storm map, said a holy hail and like some verbiage that was corny. I don't even
yeah,
remember.
yeah,
And hit go on it. And I was getting like, can't do this anymore, but I was getting like 10, 15, 20, $30 Facebook leads. And
yeah,
that only lasted for like the first 3 days, and everybody forgets about it. And they go back up to 100, 120, $150. So I
right,
would just dump all my money in it, like marketing money. I'd be like, run $10,000 for the next
yeah,
half, right? Or
yeah,
the next 2 days. And I'd spend 10,000 or even $15,000 right after a storm pulling in $20 leads and everybody to eat. And then we had realtors calling us, we had insurance agents calling us for getting
Hmm.
calls off Google's because we're on the map pack. And it just organically blew up really well. Well, then after that, the landscape changed. Nobody could knock doors. Everybody learned how to do
Hmm.
social media ads. So
Yeah.
then you got to keep adjusting. You got to keep
Right.
going to right. Like I don't even we run branding ads on Facebook. I don't even think we do lead acquisition or gen ads anymore, unless it's directly after a storm or something.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And, I find leads coming from Facebook or Instagram or anything like that are way different than ones coming from Google specifically.
Yeah,
Because they're just, and this is what I tell a lot of our clients is that they're not going to Facebook to look for you, they're going to Google to look for you. So you
yeah,
want to be there.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and for sure you want to have a presence on Facebook and Instagram, but yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
brand awareness. It's
mhm,
like, hey,
mhm.
it's easier to pick you off Google when they've seen your Facebook page, pop up or ads 20 times.
Yeah, 100%. And then they see your trucks in the neighborhoods and, your signs and all that kind of stuff. So that's cool.
Yep, for
I
sure.
I love this. I mean, kind of from a marketing standpoint, if I, were to open up a roofing company right now, I mean, I'd almost follow that exact same formula as what you're talking about.
Uh, Referral partners are free. Just treat them well and bring value to them. Don't say, give me stuff when I need it. Say, like, how can I help you?
Yeah.
What do you need to make this a successful relationship?
Hmm.
Your Google listing's free. All you got to do is
Yeah.
just treat it well and do the reviews and answer your phone and, these things. And uh,
Yeah.
posting on social media is free. Like, none of that costs money.
No, it just takes time, right?
Yeah,
And it's,
it's
you
just
gotta just,
building and
mhm.
consistency.
Well, and I love that on the review side of things that you have made such a commitment to that. I mean, 2,000 reviews that's massive, right? And um, I mean, we've looked at 1,000-ish, maybe more at this point, different roofing company marketing plans and all that kind of stuff, and very few people even have 100. So having 2,000 is just absolutely massive.
You have to be intentional about the things. So, like in our comp structures for the sales reps, um, they after they hit so many dollars, there's a
Hmm.
bonus.
Hmm.
There's like a bonus that covers $500 for gas, right? Or
Yeah.
there's a bonus that's $1,000 cash or $1,500 cash or whatever. In order to get their bonuses, they have to have at least 4 5-star Google reviews. Like you guys are on 50 roofs a month easy, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I guarantee you're on 20 of those don't have damage. You could get 20 reviews just from those people, right? Let alone the work that you're completing and the
Right.
people that do have damage and the people that do need roofs. Like, and then on this, it's like you do a realtor deal. You have a buyer, a seller, a buyer's realtor, and a seller's realtor. There's 4 people you can get reviews from
Right.
that
Right.
in on that deal. So yeah, there's plenty of people to get reviews from that are legitimate reviews. It's just it doesn't always have to be a finished roof. There are a
Hmm.
lot of other people that are in deals. There are a lot of people you do services for that
Yeah.
aren't necessarily you're getting paid for. So do you want to go do 15 roof inspections and get absolutely nothing for them? Spending
Hmm.
your time out there, making them a report, talking to them about what you found, at least get a review out.
Yeah. And how many salespeople did you say that you have?
14.
14. So 14 times 4 or 5 reviews definitely adds up,
Yeah,
if
it is. And
that's
and
part of
some
their
of them
comp plan.
Some of them go a little more, and then we have review contests. We do like 3 or 4 contests a year on
Yeah.
different things. Some of it's on dollars sold, some of it's on contracts, some of it's on reviews.
Hmm.
And so you have those review times. And all of a sudden, they remember to ask every single person.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's amazing how that works, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
not
Yeah.
just getting 4 on the 30th of the month.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And the more steady that it is, the better is
Yeah,
for all platforms, honestly.
for
And
sure.
what we're finding is that using AI, almost everything is review based, right? On
Yeah,
why people are ranking in AI, like ChatGPT or
yeah, like
Gemini
a
or any of those kinds of
branding.
things. Yeah. Right.
I
And
was
it
looking
makes
at
sense.
something. Oh, sorry. I was looking at something. Got said through AI and ChatGPT,
Yeah.
your rankings and like keywords and things like that also pull power from the responses that you leave. So
Mm. Oh,
if you can work in keywords into your response, like, hey, thank you so much when we got out in Greenwood and we're able to do your roof. Like, you don't want
mhm.
to sound weird, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but if you can naturally work that in, and it's
yeah.
like, okay, they're doing roofs in Greenwood, they're doing
Mhm.
roofs in Indianapolis, they're doing these, and then, roof replacement, or your roof was smoked with hail damage. I'm glad we got you a brand new one. Now you got hail damage worked in there.
Yeah.
I'm like half tempted to go back through 2,000 reviews and add keywords to
Oh
these
yeah,
things.
there you go. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, that would be a good project. You'd have to
Yeah.
take on like,
And maybe not me personally.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you were going to do it all over again, right?
Yeah.
You were going to start out from scratch right now.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I do the exact same thing.
Yeah. Focus
I,
on the
I
relationships
yeah,
first.
yeah, it's the free stuff. That's what you have
Yeah.
money for. Like, now we're doing SEO, and we're
Mhm.
buying some leads through like AdWords and
Yeah.
LSA, and all of these other avenues. But we still do a lot of relationship stuff, right? We
Mhm.
still like own that Google listing and make sure that we're maximizing that. Those are the things that got us to where we are. And the day that we forget about that is the
Yeah.
day that the business goes down the tubes.
Is that something that you coach to your sales staff also, and just everybody in your organization, just constantly talking about relationships and building relationships
Yeah,
and
we do
that's
trainings on it. You rotate salespeople,
Mhm.
and you got new people in. So I wish everybody stayed and we never had to retrain a single
Yeah.
thing. Unfortunately, the world doesn't work that way. And so you're constantly retraining everything. Relationships is one of the major factors that goes into we have initial 4-week training. That's a big piece of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
because you're not going to survive in this industry. And we have a ton of leads that come in, especially during storm season, but even throughout,
Mhm.
Um, but when you have 15 guys, like, what are you going to do all day? We're not getting 40, 50 leads a day outside of storms, and especially not in September, October, November, right? You need to learn how to hunt. You can't be a zoo lion, right? You got to go out there. You got to know how to hunt, and relationships is the easiest way.
Mhm.
And so for me, let me clarify. I know there's people like, oh, go knock 4,000 doors and close 5,000 deals.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, they're the easiest way. And so that's what I teach, because that's what I teach my guys, because that's what I'm good at. And that's what I do.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
awesome. So, kind of looking forward, I'm always asking people about industry trends and anything like that because I mean, there's a lot of things that change in our industry here, right?
Yeah.
And what we're seeing on the marketing side of things is changing faster than ever. But what are some industry trends that you're seeing and that you're really kind of digging into right now for your company?
Oh, man. There is, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Seems like the biggest industry deal going on right now is PE injecting themselves
Hmm.
into roofing pretty heavily,
Yeah.
right? So that's going on, and I think that's going to make a difference here. Uh, and I don't know exactly how yet. I
Yeah.
think AI also is a big thing. As an example, I've used ChatGPT for a while, but not used it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
give me some sort of recipe or this, or like, what's the best places to go while I'm in Gatlinburg, and
Yeah.
but I built my first custom GPT a while ago, and then I really dig into, so like a custom GPT, for the
Hmm.
people that may not know, is like, it's back and you give them permanent directions on what to do. This is how you act, this is what you say,
Hmm.
these are the materials you look up. And so there's a perfect, or like a permanent configuration. And so then you call it that. Well, I made an estimate validator,
Hmm.
and this wasn't my first one. When I made my first one, I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. So I started digging in. I made an estimate validator. In my business, all the sales reps would get an estimate together, turn them in, give them to ops, and then the job would be going on, and we'd be missing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Not even a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff, a few things. I don't want to berate them. Like a pipe boot, this is annoying. We're a couple of bundles short, or we're missing trim coil or stuff like whatever. And so
Hmm.
then we got a guy, when during that time I told you about, when we had too many people there, we got a guy that had to literally check every one, but because it wasn't their job, they had to go back, they had to look at all the pictures, they had to look at the order, they had to look at the roof reports. So they're spending an hour
Yeah.
per contract turned in. So this guy's whole job turned into reviewing contracts. Well, then I made this estimate validator through ChatGPT where they literally drop in their PDF photo report from Company Cam,
Mm-hmm.
drop in the roof report, and then they drop in their estimate.
Hmm.
And it has all of our rules in it, exactly what's needed, how we order, how we build, even how we like piece count the drip edge and gutter apron. And it goes through and gives them a score based on like it can tell from the photos
Yeah.
if you put a lead pipe boot when you need a regular pipe boot, right? Like it can
Oh,
tell
yeah.
by looking at the pipe stack, like, hey, you got the wrong boot on there.
Yeah.
And so like it goes through and they have to reach a 98% correct score in order for it to move to production. And so
Right.
then when they reach that, if it's something's wrong or they're short on something, it'll tell them. They just go back, fix it, drop it
Yeah.
back in. And then when it's done, they get that PDF, they turn it in, and then it cut out 70% of that guy's job.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's open to do a lot of other stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
We have way less errors on the job because nothing's missed because you take out the human factor.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's those are the type of things that are
Yep.
possible. We're just broaching the surface of it.
Mm-hmm.
AI, it's a self-evolving monster like the snowball. I think 6 months it's going to be an insanely different monster than it is right now.
100%. Absolutely. Absolutely love that. All right, we're going to take a pause here in between our lightning round for a message from our sponsor. RoofingSites.com. Since 2018, RoofingSites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to RoofingSites.com and sign up for a roofing marketing strategy session with me. All right, we're heading into the lightning round now. Aaron, we've got one rule here, man, right? And one rule only on the lightning round. You have 1 minute or less to answer any of these questions. You ready?
Sync my clock here. No, okay.
We'll put the timer up here, right?
Yeah. All right, go.
All right. First question. What is your favorite personal hack? This could be a book, podcast, pretty much anything goes. We're Roofer Growth Hacks.
This is actually easy. This is something I started doing 4 years ago. You tend to kind of fall out of some habits, some things when you build them up. And so every spring, after all the holidays and eating everything you want in winter, about every end of February, beginning of March, so late winter, early spring, I started doing 75 hard, and it goes through and it completely reshapes your minds, gets you really healthy, gets you ready for summer, looking good if you gotta take your shirt off at the pool, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it just builds all those habits back up. And then so I go through the year and then I'm like working out nonstop and everything and finish the 75 hard and you go from working out 7 days a week to 5,
Yeah.
but come the holidays and everything again, you're back down to about 2, maybe one, maybe you miss a few weeks after a vacation. And so then you just hit it again in spring, man, and it brings you right back. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. It's made me a lot healthier, a lot better, a lot more driven.
Yeah. And I find that it gets you focused more. 75 hard gets you like really the clarity comes at some point. And I think it's probably all the reading and obviously all the exercise as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're eating healthy, you're exercising, you're reading, you're not drinking, you're not doing anything like that. It's like you are fully focused and running at 100% of your usage, and you realize like, holy shit, like I can do a lot better than I'm doing.
Right. And you start realizing those were just a bunch of excuses keeping me from doing all this stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. That was awesome. Number 2, here's the second question. What is your favorite business hack? Again, book, podcast, whatever. Anything goes here.
Business hack. I would say recently, it has been that you don't hire unless you find that position pays for itself.
Okay.
Right? We've had in the past, we're like, hey, this would be great to do this, and I think it'll go here, and we're going to do this, and I think it'll make these things better. And then they never quite do pan out the way that you want. So, favorite business hack is we implemented a rule. We're like, how does this person pay for themselves, themselves if we put them in this position? And if they can't do that, we can't answer that. We have to reevaluate the situation and see what's going on.
Gotcha. Love that. Love that. All right. Next question. What is the best advice that you've been given? And you get bonus points if you let us know how you actually applied it.
It's actually easy. It's not advice technically from a person, but yeah, I don't remember who told me, but it was from somebody that read it from a book or wherever. But it was just the thing that everybody's probably already heard, which was you're the sum total of the people that you surround yourself with
Yeah.
in the books that you read, right?
Yeah.
And so I was told that a while ago. And I started taking things a lot more serious, and that's what I started getting into, reading a lot more, focusing on things, coming up with ideas. That's when shortly thereafter, I decided to start my own business. It's been a game changer for me. The right people will push you, not just in pushing you in the right direction, but they also have opportunities because they're successful people or they're driven people that want the same things as you, and they don't see the things that you're talking about as either pipe dreams or
Mm-hmm.
bragging or anything like that. They're like,
Right.
heck yeah, brother, what if we do this?
Yeah.
And it's been a massive change in my life. So now I tell my kids that uh all the time. I tell them all the okay.
Love
And
that.
hopefully they remember it a lot earlier than I learned it.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. And I think I heard that from Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Um, I think that's where I remember hearing it first, maybe 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Like I said, I think it's been around for a while, but
Yeah.
that was my first time, but I'm glad I heard it.
Yeah. It's probably Napoleon Hill that came up with it,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly, man.
all right, Aaron, how can the Roofer Growth Hacks family get in touch with you? How can we support you, encourage you moving forward?
Well, I don't know. I don't have anything to tell you. I just want to get on and share. I'm on Facebook. My company's Indy Roof Restoration. My email's Aaron at Indy Roof Restoration. I always tell everybody I love helping. I love learning. Every time I talk to somebody to, answer some questions for them, somebody that may be in the position that I was in when Dustin helped me,
Mhm.
maybe I can help them. But I always pick up something. I almost always learn something from them as well. So if you ever want to have a chat or a business conversation, feel free to give me a shout.
Love it. Aaron, thanks so much for coming on, man. I've got a ton of notes here just from this. And that's the reason that I do this too, is I
Yeah,
love learning myself. So
yeah.
thanks so much for coming on.
It's great to be a forever learner, man, because things constantly evolve,
Yep.
constantly change. Day you stop learning is the day you die.
100%.
Thanks, man.
All right. Appreciate it. Well, how about that, roofers? Was that pretty awesome or what? I know that I have a lot of notes that I wrote down here from talking with Aaron. I had a ton of takeaways from him. Let's just jump right into it. So, first of all, I loved how he built his company in the beginning, how he talked about how he built his company in the beginning. Relationships. He kept making that point. Relationships, right? Relationships. Relationships are such a big thing in the very beginning, and he said later on that it's kind of harder, to continue that, but it is so very important to get those relationships, to build the relationships with realtors, specifically is who he mentioned, right? And insurance, that's another one that he talked about, but he mainly stuck with realtors, I think is what it sounds like. And as he's been scaling his company, that's been a little bit more difficult, right? Because you got to train people. You got to have and hold other people accountable to do the same thing that you did. Okay. But it is such a cool thing to do if you can achieve that, right? And he talked about SOPs, standard operating procedures, and he gave that story of how to build a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, through an SOP, and how it can be completely messed up. I love that part because I've actually read about that in one of my books that I've read back over here. That might have been through the E-Myth, might have been through Checklist Manifesto. I'm not sure which book that I read that in, but that's interesting that he did that in his own company too. So I love that part. I loved how he talked about at the beginning, how he really focused on social media, on growing his company, and so forth. I think that it's social media is important. It's still important these days. But it's about building your brand, right? It's not about people finding you and and hiring you right then and there, and because that's not where they're going, right? To find you. But he said that he posted pictures, of his jobs and so forth, and that's a great thing to do, and it does help build your brand. The other thing that he mentioned, right? Reviews. He made a commitment to get reviews in on a regular basis. I love that. And he incentivizes his sales staff in order to get those reviews. If they want their bonus at the, end of the month, right? End of the quarter, where I didn't dig into exactly when that was, but they've got to get 4 to 5 reviews, right? So you multiply that times, what do you say, 14 salespeople times 5 reviews. I mean, that is a massive amount of reviews that you can get just by incentivizing your sales staff for that. We've got a client in Florida that has done that has incentivized their sales staff to get reviews. And it's just something, it's an investment in your future. So why not do that? Okay. The next thing that I love that he talked about was the estimate validator, GPT, right? If you've been listening to me for any length of time, you know that I'm a AI geek, love Chat GPT, and lately I've been using Claude a little bit more, and Gemini for that matter. But I love that how he talked about how he built that estimate validator, right? GPT. It's those types of things that's where you should be focusing on in your business, on how can you get more efficiency out of someone by giving them a tool, right? That can help them do their job. Loved how he talked about that. That's exactly what I do with my staff. When I hear them saying that they're stuck on this one task or something like that, I build a custom GPT just for that task. Okay. So super, super cool. Last thing, we talked about it quite a bit, but his personal hack of 75 hard every spring. I love that. I'm a 75 hard geek. My family, and he and I talked about this afterwards, but I do the same thing. It's interesting. Right around my birthday, I do 75 hard, and that's just to get off the winter weight. That's to reset my mind more than anything that I find that it does. It makes you more disciplined. And if you've never heard of 75 hard is basically, it's an entrepreneurial, more of a grit challenge. Okay. Because, the whole deal is that you've got to work out twice a day for 45 minutes, each. One of those has to be outside, right? No alcohol during those 75 days. You've got to read 10 pages in a business book every single day. What else is there? I think you've got to take a picture of yourself, right? Basically a progress picture, right? What else is there? Oh, you have to drink a gallon of water. Okay. So you have to do all of these things every single day. And you basically have a checklist that you check off. Yes, I did that. Yes, I did that. Yes, I did that. And you're not allowed to go to bed until you do them. Okay. And if you don't do them, let's say that you only did one workout today, you start back at zero, at ground zero, right? So if you're on day 74 and you skipped a workout, guess what? You're back on day zero. So it's a mental toughness challenge, really, more than anything, I think. Because if you can make it through that, you start telling yourself, if I can make it through this, I can do anything, right? And it gets your mind completely set for business, right? And it was originally created by an entrepreneur. Originally, he created it to lose weight, right? And yes, you do lose weight. The first time that I did 75 hard, I'd lost 40 pounds, right, in that 75 days. And a lot of that is probably the no alcohol, right? And you have to choose a diet. That was the other deal, right? You have to choose a diet and stick with that diet for 75 days, okay? Anyway, so I've lost weight every single time that I've done that, and it has made everyone around me see me in a different light because I had changed. And so, anyways, it's one of my favorite things, 75 Hard. Look into it. I highly recommend it. It is hard. Okay. It ain't easy. So make sure that if you're going to start it, and I've known too many entrepreneurs that have started it and have never once finished it. So if you're going to start it, I'd say have the mental capacity and the true entrepreneurial grit to finish it. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Roofer Growth Hacks. I hope you enjoyed this episode, that you connect with Aaron online. We're going to have right down below this, we're going to have all of his details that you can go and connect with him. I also hope that while you're out there, you connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or Spotify, heck, wherever that you're listening to me or watching this. I hope that you go out there and connect with me. While you're out there, make sure you go to roofingsites.com and listen to other previous episodes of Roofer Growth Hacks. I do want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, roofingsites.com. Since 2018, roofingsites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up for a roofing strategy marketing session with us. Also, this past year, I published my book, The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. If you're a roofing company owner and don't have this book in your hands, I will send you a free digital copy. Just go to go.roofingsites.com and I'll send you a free copy of this book. Well, roofers, join me next time when we connect with another great roofing entrepreneur and learn how to hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter. Thanks and gig 'em.